Not yet.
Douchebag added to that. Lucky observing Columbus Day. Thanks. Commenter. What do you do to observe Columbus Day? Get lost in a grocery store looking for spices?
Yes. My favorite celebration.
Oh gosh. Did he give you a time that he'll be on?
I told him 10. I told him 10 hours ago, and he said, okay. And then nothing else. And I've let him know twice that I'm on, so I don't know. Oh, hey, you just get on? Okay, no problem, man. Sorry. Didn't mean to rush you. Yeah, I just started streaming on Twitch, but I'm gonna go ahead actually and stream right to Discord too, so that you can get it without latency. I just started. Yeah, just double click my name, I think, and um, it should. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully my PC lets me do all this. Oh, you're doing it on your phone? Ooh, dang. So I'm digging this design right here. This is looking pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm just kind of going back into Sapara to try to like figure out what we can do better. So I grabbed a lot of like high tech, kind of clean design. That one there. So there's some. It's like that layered tiered thing. Like so, like the whole outfit's kind of like this. It's interesting. I'm not sure if I'm sold on the idea, but maybe integrating something like that into it would be kind of cool. Mm. Oh, okay. That was the one I was talking about. That one. I really like that design. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, just this is a very low res picture, but that's kind of perfect because we can kind of like, yeah. It's I like it kind of looks like her, don't it? Yeah, I do look like Halle Berry. I mean, I like these shapes on the knees here. Like they're almost like knee pads, but still like really tight to the body. And the same shapes occur on the arms there, so it's almost like robotic. An Altered Storm outfit, yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah, the Regal, like whatever those were. I don't even know what those are. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Have you played Cyberpunk at all? Hell yeah. That is like that's my aesthetic. I'm just totally and I am in love with the cyberpunk aesthetic. I think it's gorgeous, but also like so dystopian. It's like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I don't care what you think. This is cool. Precisely. This is like, oh, he's one of those people. Oh boy. Oh. This is the way. Right. They're very discriminatory and very ableist. The Hunter Association from Hunter x Hunter. You can't become a hunter. Sorry, I'm talking to my girlfriend. She just asked who is very ableist. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Oh, see, there's this. Yeah, like that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Right. Which has basically practically infinite funding from what everything I saw. Like, I never finished that series. I really need to go back and finish that series. Let it build up a little bit. Yeah. Oh. So it's like training you at the same time as like you're allowing you to do the things you want. Interesting. I dig that. Right, right. Almost full cyborg going on. Right. Right. I recall vaguely, so you have to remind me. Man, I wish I could, but I don't remember this, so go ahead, continue. That's never stopped him before, though, so you know. Oh, Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's almost like a workaround. Yeah. R- right. Yeah. Right. They are. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So a dragon's territory can be encompassing other dragons' territories. That's yeah, that's kind of how I've always like pictured the dragons in this world, especially being like um very much like yeah, like they being the strongest creature on a continent, like you wouldn't take crap from, the lowly barbarian people who, power comes in many forms. Oh, dang. Interesting. Right. Right. They have all this power, they just choose not to exercise it. Yeah. Right. 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 Ah, yeah. Yep. Yep. It's that's the that's the secret of royalty is it's just you are a a tenant of of the property that you're basically you're renting from the royalty. So secret of royalty, and it's kind of actually royalty almost everywhere. Like you went to how they had it set up in Asia as well, like Asian the imperial structure. They yeah, like the way yeah, the imperial I'm thinking like Chinese like how they divvied up territory was very much based around like uh you were always subservient to the emperor, but then you look back though and you're like, oh wait, they like people a lot of people didn't like that, so then they just killed the emperor and became emperor themselves. So it was a you know right. Yeah, yeah, so they don't want them to leave their territory, so that's why like it does okay, so there is incentive to treat your subjects with at least a little bit of care. Right, right. I can imagine there's certainly some though that at least maybe in the past, maybe not so much in the modern era that you've created, but in the past that some dragons ruled out of fear too though. So I'm sure that happened a lot. Right. exactly. Yeah. No, that's I mean that's very common like that and that did happen a lot. There were many times territories would essentially kind of like kind of secretly claim independence just by doing their thing uh externally from whatever the crown had, but then a lot of times what would happen though is if an emperor or a king got wise to that, right? Like they figured out like, hey, wait a minute, that territory's got a lot of power and they're not doing what I want them to do. They would go and make an example of them. They would, it was not usually pretty. Um, there was that was a lot of times, but yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense though from that standpoint. What are we thinking about this design for like our Supara human form? You said something about goddess braids, goddess braided hair, something. I don't remember what you said. It would hurt our brains. Oh, okay. I'm kind of getting the gist. I mean it's just like very thickly braided locks. It kind of looks like. Yeah. Uh. Okay. This one's showing me. I'm trying to find like a good picture here, cause like it's giving me a bunch of things. Goddess box braid is not, I think, what you're thinking of. Are you kind? Are you? Oh, okay. That might be better. Here, let me just message this over to you. Ay, ay, ay. Mhm. Right. All right. I think I see this braid style. I am actually really liking how that looks. Oh, come on. Don't freeze on me. Oh God. Dude, my computer's been like all day today. At one point, it straight up. I was working on that dragon drawing or the dragon roost area, and I really wanted to do that like how they like built their cities up on these huge plateaus because I kept thinking of like roosts, right? Like I just kept thinking like that would be really cool. And you reminded me too though. I do think I need to change that design up a little bit. I'm definitely gonna have him like have it be like partially above the clouds, because I think like that takes this world to like 11 in terms of like fantasy landscape type of deals. Um, but then the other part too, I was thinking because you're reminding me about how dragons are like super territorial, and not just territorial, but like possession oriented. So uh, I feel like the population of dragons would just almost always naturally stay very low. Is that something that is a good Cause I yes, okay. And now here's another thing. Do those two races kind of like live together in like the same spaces, or are we looking at like the dragons keep the reptile, the reptiles very separate from their territory. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. That changes some things because then that means that very likely the dragons would be the more like they live in the higher tier like mansion style homes and things like that. So wait, say that first part again. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. Yeah, no dragon would stoop that low. Is like the kind of interesting. Yeah, when they start watch the comic unfold as you yes. Yeah, I kept thinking I was like I bet they don't farm a whole lot. I bet they're not huge on that front. But I bet they have a lot of technology and a lot of other things to give to other places. So a lot of yes. But there fucking is. So no, I was kidding. No, but we're totally doing that kind of stuff. Like I mean, like I do think like stories work best when things make sense, and things make sense when they are closer to how like we would do things, right? Like how, and so like if there's a rare skill but it's a very valuable skill, people are going to build schools that make it less rare because that's just they need that skill, right? Like it's just something that they need. All right, how are we looking at it? Does that feel like it got us sprayed? Is that kind of what you're thinking? Yeah. Oh, we can make them super long. Yeah. Kayak. All right. Dang. Love it. All right, that's good. Oh yeah. Oh no, and I mean hearing him tell you that it like made my heart go, yeah, somebody else like acknowledges me. It's like what is that? Yeah, he acknowledge me. I seriously seriously though, there is something that like may it just means a lot to an artist to feel um seen by other artists, you know? So like that's something that you said going down to like at least her let's get it down to like her butai. That'll be fun to like draw blowing in that wind, that made up wind that I have in all my drawings that I just seem to have. Everybody's got that wind blowing epically through their hair. Yeah, there we go. When it works, it works. I mean, in so yeah, I am all about composition. And so like one of the things that you will see me when we actually get to the comic phase of things is I will fight for like doing things that are like straight up only for composition. Like, you'll be like, okay, yes, and then this person will like punch they'll punch in a bar fight, they'll like punch this other person. I'll be like, all right, now hear me out. What if, because the composition of this would be so much cooler, is if we like had them like do this like backflip thing. I don't know. I would just go like crazy and like is if it makes the framing and the composition look good. You do understand or you don't? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here I'll just no, 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 no. That's I know. Yeah, it's a fancy art term. Um, so composition is how things are laid out in your drawing, right? And I mean, composition is essentially it's the combination of layout, like layout, perspective, distance, color, shape, all these things, and it all like builds into the one thing that is composition. So generally speaking, um, like bad compositions would be um, like there's like half a person kind of cut off over here, then like very middle is like a person, and then like covering up part of that person is like another person doing something here. I don't know, like just bad composition is you know it when like, or I shouldn't say you know it when you see it because you don't always know it. But what you do always know is when you see good composition because immediately your eye is like sucked right. I accidentally did a good composition there. So, um, no, but like I'm trying to think so like a bad composition, it might be just like draw a table, put your main subject right here on the side, and then like nothing else. Like and that's the whole thing, right? And so like there's all this extra space over here that, our eyes don't they just ignore, right? Like because our eyes are looking at this. Um a good composition will let's tilt our table down and away from us. Now we've got some additional space up here that we can have. Put our subject. So there's this hidden thing in photography and art called this. It's the rule of thirds grid. Have you heard of that? So yeah, it's essentially like divide. Uh, on the vertical and horizontal axes, your grid into three parts, and essentially these spots right here are like perfect focal points. Your eyes love to look at those spots. And you can kind of play around with like how that looks. So like, say I put my apple here, I've got it on this table, and then even closer, I've got a close up of something else that doesn't really make a whole lot of difference, but it's there to frame the shot. So maybe it's a basket, I don't know, some shit like that. But like immediately, this is a more dynamic composition than this. So like that's like the power of good composition versus bad composition is like you are always going to be attracted to something that's well composed versus something that's just like, so you'll see it a lot in webtoons, and I'm always a little bit like disappointed whenever I see it. It's I just look at it like lazy drawing, I guess, or lazy framing, where like um there'll be like three characters in a scene, and they'll be laid out like exactly like this, right? So, yeah, yeah. Like they'll just be talking and stuff like that. When like honestly, a better composition would be like, okay, we're gonna have one character really close, another character a little bit further away, and then another character over here doing the the talking, because and like the reason is, yeah, exactly. So like another thing too is it's all about like pulling the viewer's eyes where you want it to go. Yes. Exactly. Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, and like so another thing too is like in a comic, like in a comic scene where you have characters talking, bundling like characters into like, oh, this person is having a conversation, um and then like there's a person who's maybe not part of the conversation, but they're still in the scene. So like you can put them closer to the camera, and then another person who's like the it's like we are looking at them doing whatever they're doing, and they're over here. And so like what this is doing is this is pulling our eyes around, right? Like this makes our eyes go like this. This just makes our eyes go like this, essentially. Like the, we want our viewer to spend as much time as possible on our panels as we can, because I mean we're spending a lot of time on them. So my goal is always like stare at my drawing, stare at it, like and yep, right, yeah, oh yeah, no, we and that's the other part too is like doing something that can be like uh doing something that can be kind of hard to understand. I see this kind of thing a lot where I let's see if I can figure out what I see a lot of. So like, oh, it's a person picking up an object, right? So like, then they'll have the object here. Um, I don't know, maybe it's a dumbbell. Sure, that looks like a dumbbell. And then there's a hand, and it's going in, reaching down to pick up the dumbbell. Like in in kind of a bad fashion. Um, let's pretend that with this was even tighter to this hand, this frame was even tighter down so that we couldn't see anything else. Like our eyes might have to work really hard to figure out what these shapes are. Or I would have to work really hard drawing it to make everything look like perfectly rendered. But if I make it so that I zoom out on the panel, now I can add in like the arm, and then like even I can even have like the head, the the beginnings of the face so that like we can see, oh yeah, this is a person bending over to reach down and pick up this thing. Like using these compositional tricks, it can help tell the story without doing as much work in each panel, I guess is the best way of putting it. I don't know. I'm going crazy. But like I yeah, I'm a huge person. I'm a huge stickler for composition, and that's really my whole story there. I'm just gonna stick by it and go for that. So yeah, like if you hear me say like, oh, I think it'll be better to do it, this way because it'll help the composition. Like we don't always have to do it that way because sometimes I can be wrong about that, but yeah, if I'm like calling composition on something, it's because I think that some there's going to be something about the way we're presenting something that will be better like viewed by our audience. Yes. Well, oh, and I was just gonna say, like, honestly, storytelling isn't about all those things. Storytelling is about the characters. Why I obsess over those things is because those are like enhancing details, um, and when they're done correctly, it makes the world that much richer. Um, it's not like you could literally have a comic that's just you know black panels with characters on it, and those characters could be doing those exact same things with no backgrounds and no like stuff, and it would be just as valid and honestly probably just as like not maybe not just as interesting, but it would be interesting, right? Like a lot of people would still like enjoy it because it's very character driven. It has the elements that they're looking for in it, but I love setting. I love to see where my characters are and what they're doing in those places. And so whenever I have the opportunity to do those in my works, that's just what I want to do. It's just like I go crazy. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's the characters, it's the scenarios. Like that's what like those are the things that make a story. The other stuff is all set dressing, right? Um it's kind of how like a performance of um like a Shakespeare play, right? Like it can be done, on a high school budget and have and the kids performing it can do a great job and we can all be really impressed by it. And it can also be done on like a Broadway budget with crazy special effects and like all these things. Both of them tell the same story, and both of them can have just as is equally as good of actors and in storytelling elements. The difference is simply the set dressing. How good does the environment look? How good does this how professional does this part the areas around the actors look? And those, I mean, I hesitate to say it because it's kind of my favorite part, but it's those things are kind of superfluous. They're not necessary to telling a good story. I mean, I hesitate to say that every story could be told without environment because I think like Lord of the Rings would be a little bit challenging to tell without like any kind of environment cues. Um, but uh, but like at the same time, I if you took out all of the descriptors of the environment and just say like, hey, they changed location to this location in it, like you still have these amazing character studies and these amazing like interactions between the characters, and that those are very great storytelling elements. So, like that's really what I'm counting on you for is I can do all of the environment work. I can do all the background work and I can do the visual side of things where, how the characters are going to look and everything like that to most of the extent. We do have to keep it like within whatever your vision for the story is, but aside from that, like um it's really just however whatever works essentially. Um, but uh, but yeah, what I'm counting on you for is like how are these characters like what are they saying? What are they doing? What how are we pushing the story forward? Um, and then obviously like where are we going in the story? Because like I can do all these like concept art pieces for all these different like places and stuff like that, but if they never go to this, it's like, oh, did we really need to do that? I guess like I don't know. I mean, I'll do it all day. Like, don't get me wrong, I will do it. I will do it all day. But I still like I like to do the things that are the more important pieces first, and then kind of integrate the other things as like higher set dressing. Did you what was it? Have you watched Made in Abyss at all? Yeah, it's an incredibly disturbing but amazing anime. The animation is like these like super cutesy chibi characters, like seriously like the big heads, little bodies type of deals. Um, and just like all this like the artwork, it looks like it would be an adorable story. The content, the subject matter is an absolutely tragic like descent into madness of these characters as they literally descend into an abyss that they cannot return from. Like there's an actual like disease as you get further and further down that it will if you get to one stage it will drive you insane if you try to return, and if you get to another stage your body will literally transform into a monster if you try to go back up. It's disturbing. Um, and yeah, like it's not for children, but it looks like it could be for children. But that's another kind of example of like it's not so important what you do with the environment and like the environment plays a huge part in it, but it could look like anything. It could look like however you want it. Anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh my God, it is one of yeah. It is one of the. I mean, there's a character that like they get sick and so they try to like save them by giving them this wishing egg, and so the character makes this I don't even, this is like the most disturbing thing ever, but the character like they give him this wishing egg, and because they're a child and they had like always wanted to be a parent, they wish with this wishing egg, instead of like making everyone well, they wish that they could have children. And so then like they then start to like birth these like weird rabbit babies, and they just do this every day, and the babies are not like real babies, so they just die the same day, and then the humans will like cook them up and eat them, and that's what actually saves them from this disease. It is the most effed up stuff, and then the person, the human, the child who was like given the wishing egg, like just keeps like transforming into this more and more monstrous version of themselves, and eventually becomes like I don't even like they eventually become like a like pocket dimension. Essentially, like they the the birthing area like turns into this pocket dimension that the humans move into, and it saves them from like the effects of the horrifying descent of this abyss that they're going into. It's all super disturbing. None of it is like you don't expect any of it of like how it's all going to play out, but like every time something new happens in that show, you're just like, dear God, what is this? None of it like, and it's not there for like shock factor either. It's not there to shock you. It's straight up like this person, the writer of it has this story that they are telling us, and it's just that tragic. Like they made it so that it's like this is how disturbing this world is that they are traversing. Anywho, that's my Made in Abyss story. Um, yeah, how are we liking her design so far? Kind of simplified her down a little bit. Should we keep these those things? That's what we kind of saw on this person here a little bit. It's a little bit different, I suppose. I like it. I personally like it, but I am thinking that it doesn't have that like modern feel. It feels more like armor. Yeah, let's get rid of it. I'm down for that. Uh, I appreciate that. Do you no, I appreciate that. Do you not want that? Because I tend to um well, I feel like fashion it very much is like it shows your personality a lot. So I don't really know Sapara's personality that well, but from what everything I've heard of her, she's very kind of like over the top, you know, powerful essentially. So I've been kind of like I've been giving her these kind of like sexier outfits because I feel like that's one thing that she would choose to wear over um, more demure style outfits. Oh yeah, no, no. I gotta get the ditties out. No, no, I don't think that, and I actually I always am thinking like, okay, is this something that this person would actually wear, or am I just like projecting my sexualized fantasies onto this character? Like you know, um, that's 100% a valid concern that I'm always thinking about it because I am really tired of comic books that just are like every female character is just some a little bit of both. It yes is yeah. I have right. Yeah. Yeah, that is fair. That is true. It is an idealized male structure and idealized female structure. Although I will say the things the some of the artists are a little bit more more sexualized with their women, or also maybe it's that they don't understand women's anatomy very well, and that's why they just like they keep making these like kind of ridiculous anatomy mistakes. have you ever seen have you ever seen those like the bad anatomy bad women's anatomy by comic book artists? It's so funny. Uh-huh. It's like four. Yeah, it's actually like a literal Mack truck, and that is actually one of the more famous. That's Robert Liefeld. His art is he's I mean he's a very well-renowned comic artist, but he still has like trash anatomy. It's like, dude, how long have you been doing this? We have a good laugh about Robert Liefeld all the time, like, and especially when I was going to school. He's just it's like, dude. Yeah, yeah, is this your secret power? Um, all right. Like, have you seen what a man looks like? I just am questioning it now. Like, um, right. So, right. No, no, no. So, oh, no, no, I continue your thought because I don't want to interrupt. Yes. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I agree. Like it I will say like there are some topics that are so universal. So like I think slavery is one like everyone can get behind the idea that this is a bad thing. Like, and it's so easy. I say that, of course, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Now we do live in America, so I don't actually know this, but like, but but you know, I'd have this idea that most people generally can get behind this idea that slavery is a bad thing. And so like when you tell a story from the perspective um of like freeing slaves and everything like that, that's generally we don't tend to consider that like a political point, but there are political points that can be made, um, but they need to be done in the way where it takes the politics out of it, I guess, and instead of politics, it's philosophy. You have to share your philosophical reasoning for why X is a X thing is a bad thing, rather than trying to shove the idea that like, oh, this is a bad thing because like, well, look what happens, and it's like, that's like we get really tired of that because our minds can easily identify when someone's just trying to shove a belief on on us. But if you identify the philosophy of something and say like, okay, like you can believe this all you want, but look, here is why it philosophically doesn't make sense to say like, because and we've done this like with a lot of concepts. We've done it with slavery, right? Like it used to be around the world. It was like, oh yeah, slavery is totally normal and everyone does it. Like, and now we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't even make sense from like a human perspective. Like, so we've changed our politics. We changed our philosophy and our politics on this one topic because over the, many generations of people we saw like, wait, we're just like we're not making any sense. We're using bad logic to try to justify something that makes our lives more convenient, and yeah, so like I think we can do that with you can do that with almost anything. Like you can do that with abortion. You can do that. You can and you can take like you can take any side you want with it, but you one of the things you have to do. And I'm a big philosophy guy. Like I will talk philosophy all day long. So just watch yourself. But but watch yourself. No, but like the uh you have to use the principles of philosophy if you're going to try to make a point, and those principles being like you have to use uh, valid, true logic if you are going, a valid, true argument if you're going to try to make an argument, right? If you try to use an invalid argument, it's like I don't know what you're trying to tell me here. And if you try to use a false argument, like we can pretty quickly say like I should say like um, those because those things don't necessarily rely on the facts as much as they do on like how to make a valid true argument. All those I don't know. Have you done any philosophy classes type of deals? Okay. All right. So you probably learned about like you have probably knowledge. Oh, okay. So the philosophers, yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So like there's um the science of arguing, the science like I think it's what is it called? Um, oh my God, I can't remember it. Yes, yes. How to it's reasoning 101, right? Like that's to reason is to uh is to actually be like a thinking human being rather than like someone ruled by external forces essentially. So um all right, I'm kind of getting Wonder Woman vibes from her outfit right now, and so I'm not digging it. I mean, hey, no problem there. Yeah, yeah. So one of the things maybe that's one of the things that has is it's got these really like um like clean things, and then there's not any like there are these belts, right? But these belts make like these very clean shapes rather than being kind of like loosely draped. Which I think does one of these characters have a loosely draped belt? None of them do. Well, I have these loosely draped belts on her that make her look like she's Wonder Woman. So we're gonna avoid those. I'm gonna take those right off my design. I actually do like this idea of like maybe we take this down so it's more like its own thing. Yeah, I get it. I'm trying. Hey, I love this kind of stuff. I am a passionate visual storyteller, and so when I'm given an opportunity like this, I don't hesitate and I try to dive in and make sure that it's like gonna go well. Um, let's see. What if there was something like, okay, that just looks like she has nipple tassels. Nope, avoiding that. 'Cause I totally decided on this. Colin Robinson. the Oh no, damn it, not this guy again. Fucking guy. Oh no, didn't you get the invite? We totally did. Yeah. Did they not? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to punish Brandon the Thrall now. I'm he's Charlie, damn it. Not a. Next time, I just have to get you, you know. Oh, no, no. Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, it's really it is really funny how long it takes to like actually feel like he is a real vampire and not some like not just like some person that they've just he tells them he's a vampire and so you're just like, oh yeah, maybe he's like faking it or something like that, but now he's a real he's the real deal. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was loving it. Oh my god. It's you said you've only seen a few episodes? The earlier the um man, you are in for a treat. That is such a good series. Um, do tell. I'm really interested. So I had an absolute blast watching that movie. Um, Interesting. Oh, right. Right, right, right. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Uh-huh. Kind of controversial topic there. Oops. Hmm. Right. 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 Interesting. Yep. Thor Ragnarok. Yep. 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 I I was really rooting for a Hulk movie that was World War. Like, or actually no, I was rooting for a Hulk movie that was Planet Hulk. That would be pretty kick ass. Um, in the World War Hulk, yeah, like that would be super cool. That's not a thing. That doesn't happen. Mhm. I have no, I've definitely always felt like Marvel um really like to screw itself over story-wise. Um because I mean part of this is like part of this is that you have so many different people with different ideas telling the same story, right? Like, or telling the same characters in a different story in a lot of cases, right? Like, it's not only one person who writes Spider-Man or the Hulk or anything like that. It's a bunch of people who you know who write these things, which yeah, and I mean that's not a problem per se, except for when it comes to continuity, right? So like I'm a big fan of continuity. I love it when I'm reading a story and like something that happened 100 chapters ago comes back around and like it was all planned from the beginning, right? Like it's this was the intentional, the like this is huh? What is it? Oh my god. No, I don't. I hate that. I hate that shit. No, so no, yes, that's like that's like an exact antithetical thing of what I kind of mean. It's like when you write a story um and you let the I okay, I think I have a god complex or something because I feel like I need to have control over a lot of things, right? I love to have control over my tools. I love to have control over my stories. I love to have, you know, um, and so I feel like a lot of times what happens to writers is they let their story control them. They have a big idea, they start it going, and you know, good on them for like just doing it, right? Like a lot of times it's like just get going, just start it, right? Like that's kind of the hardest part. Um, but like then of course they try to do the whole thing that you know that then happens with Bleach where they're like, okay, well I started a whole story and yes, you know it was going really well because I had such a great idea, but now I'm 675 chapters in and none of it makes any sense anymore and all these characters are just these wild like who even knows? There's so many different things that I have to try to tie up, you know, and like now it's not them like controlling the story anymore. It's the story controlling them. And so that's like one of the things that really gets me is um when you write a story like I look at like how did you get to the completion? How did you get to the end of the story? Did you get there before you decided that that was how the story was all going to go? Um, or did you let the story just lead you to that conclusion? And some, you know, both ways are valid ways of telling a story, but one of those ways, well, I mean, this is the famous example of Harry Potter, right? Like, J.K. Rowling's had how many drafts of the entirety of the Harry Potter story written before you know even the first book was published. Like she knew all of these things that were happening in her world and each of these things was an integral part of how that story was going to go. And then you know like you got to the seventh book and like all these little tidbits started dropping into place, these character things that you thought were like throwaway things at the beginning, like nope, that's actually important. Like um and you know, and not to give her more credit than she deserves because she's a total turf and loser, but like it's I have to say her storytelling is really good. Um because she took the time to plan essentially. And I'm a big fan of when that happens. I like this asymmetry happening with like one gloved hand and then one that's not. Sorry, I got distracted by my drawing. So she's come, yeah. Essentially, she's doubled down several times on her Twitter. You know, honestly, I okay. So like, I am not a good example of someone who like, uh, is like, I guess a good ally. I don't know a better way of putting it, but like, I'm kind of, I'm kind of I love the Harry Potter series. I really enjoyed it. Like, Yeah, yeah, right. Like, yeah, yes, yeah, all right, yeah, yeah. No, and yeah, yeah, you know, you can like the creation and not the creator. I think that that's a valid thing. I will say it becomes a little less easy to disambiguate the two when money is involved, right? So if I like buy a Harry Potter anything, there's money that goes to J.K. Rowling, so technically I'm supporting this total, you know, dumbass of a person. But oh, there you there you go, nailed it. Yeah, yeah, no, I don't have to agree with her. I I definitely have to say like her writing was amazing. Like it was great, and it's one of the most beloved stories for a reason, right? Like it's an entire generation. She can take all my money. Oh, I know. I really need this game. I need it so badly. I don't. How dare you not be? No, just kidding. Uh, yeah, that's a fact. Oh my god, I never thought about it that way. But like, that's just something like you just have to deal with. Bah, bah, bah. That is It's like, oh shit, yeah, what do I do? Like, do you all of a sudden stop liking the product? Like, no, you don't. It's just, you still enjoy the product, and that's like, damn, that sucks. It what a shitty move on the company's part, but like, um, I will, yeah. All right, that's a good point. I never actually looked at it like that. I've always been like, I'm like the casual observer, of course. Yeah, yeah. Fuck you guys. Well, and like I've never been that because I've just always been really disappointed because I know for a fact that she's a smart, educated person who is generally inclusive to almost every other group, and then of course made an entire generation feel more included by writing a story that they could relate to. As but now like is choosing one ridiculous thing that like you're just not gonna be progressive on. Like, okay, lady, you're just what a weird thing to do. Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's fair. That's fair. You're not. Yeah. No. No. Yeah. 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 It's facts. Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, that's yeah. If you know, and honestly, like if you got a shit opinion about something and you want to keep that opinion, just don't talk about it. Easy. I don't personally. Yeah, and he doesn't talk about it, so you know. Crazy. And yeah, and honestly, like that's a better way to do it. On like I actually, oh my God, my friend, my friend was getting a little bit armchair experty in a chat. We had a Russian and a Ukrainian in a channel with us. Well, it didn't go any bad way, thankfully. But no. Yeah, right. Well, oh yeah, no, it's daily. Like it's there's craziness happening daily with that conflict. But I the thing that my friend like kept doing was so he's like, oh, he calls me into the chat and he's like, all right, I figure you love to talk about this kind of stuff. Have a talk with these two guys, and I'm like, all right, this sounds awesome. I'd love to hear more from their perspective. Well, he then proceeds to dominate the conversation and not let them talk about the about like really anything. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, like this is their space. This is their like this. We should be providing them a platform to talk about it, not speaking our like dumbass opinions about this thing that doesn't affect us. Like I can sit here and say, oh, it right. I am not directly affected in the same way that someone living in the conflict is, and that's I think that's what is how dark do we want Supara's skin? We can go dark or we can go lighter. I actually don't remember what it was like in the in the other drawing. All right, let's see. Carrot, yeah, oh yeah, my ex would say it's caramel every time, like it's always caramel. Let's see, actually, I like. You digging it or not digging it? Yeah, no, hit me with that, dude. I need to know. That's the stuff I need to know. You gotta tell me. I think gold and cerulean, like what do we got? We got like hmm. Cerulean's like a pale blue, right? Like a cyan almost. Kind of like that, I'd say. Yeah, yeah, you hit me with those Pokemon town names. I don't know if I can handle it. Don't know if I can handle this stuff. Yeah. It's Cerulean Town, obviously. Cerulean City, yep. Oh yeah. The way that story went half the time was so trash. Like thankfully they did it justice in the end, I'd say, but like they still could have gotten there a lot better. Like damn. Really? No, hit me with the facts. I need to know. Okay. Yep. No, I never liked him as a character, honestly. Hmm. Yeah. He had to fight. He had to literally fight his internal, thing to just get his own power. Like, you know. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Kill your entire family. Nope. Nope. This makes sense. This makes perfect sense. Yep. 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 Nope. It's got to be every single one of them. This is the only way. I will do this. Yep. No, 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 no. It's the thing. No, no. Totally logical. Nope. Nope. He was yeah, yeah. Right, right. Yeah, like, bigotry comes from a place. It doesn't mean it's justified. It just means that it is a thing that people have experienced, and, it's something that they probably dang. That might be true. That might be true. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That is a fact, man. It's messed up. You don't even know. I fucking kill him. I just bide my time. Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I know, right? I know, right? Like because I'm like, okay, what? Okay, that is actually a very good point about Itachi, like specifically, is there were he had to learn all of his techniques, right? He had to learn that from somebody. Now you're telling me that he then goes up against the entire Uchiha clan, single-handedly takes them all down because he can now do every single technique that he's learned over, his whatever short, like what was he, like 16 or something like that years old? Yeah, he's learned it in his, youngster 16 years amount of time better than, people who are fucking, like almost 100. Like you telling like is that what you're telling me? And in the war. I, yeah. Yeah. Yes. They're tough. Yep. 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 Yeah, you're telling. Yeah, it's very disrespectful. It's like you made an entire clan you made an entire clan of overpowered people, and then you said, okay, well, actually now there's this 16-year-old that's more overpowered than the entire clan put together. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh, okay, okay, right. Well, it's not convenient for the story to, have a bunch of these overpowered like that was something about Naruto was like I really felt like his idea of like powerful like ninja got out of hand. He had something really going for him when it was like the tuning exams and like all these like the yeah, like these are some great storylines where he's got like ninjas got to be trained and they got to learn this and they got to learn that and it's like these are some great amazing storylines that I'm loving. The issue started when it was like it started to become um no longer a story about like a child overcoming the adversity of like being accepted by a society that literally hates its guts, and it became all about this like cosmic battle between a literal goddess, and that's really like when it got to that point you lost your he just yeah, you lost your mind. No, but like yeah, the you had rules for his he had rules for his like what ninjas could and couldn't do, and then he systematically started breaking each and every one of them with some character that's like yeah like yeah started breaking them. I mean, and you can do it, you can do it, there's no like there I shouldn't say there's no reason, there's definitely a lot of reasons why you shouldn't do it. Yes, yes. Yeah, to just tiny like, oh yeah, and now the Green Lantern has this little change on his suit. That's like, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Now, Got to blow up the whole universe. Yeah, yeah, and they do it. I mean, but they do know, like they at least understand that, like it is so hard to have a story try to overcome those even that small hurdle of like changing a character a little bit. Like it's hard. Dark Knight Snuggle. Dark Knight Snuggle. Got it. I'm just kidding. Right. What? Sorry, I missed the end of that. Yeah. He was overcoming adversity and prejudice by being the best version of himself that he could be, right? And always getting like always becoming better. You never settling. Yeah, never settling and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a major bummer. Like I really loved it up until it became honestly I loved it all the way through the Pain saga. Like when he was like I think honestly they should have ended it with Pain. Like the whole like him there were a lot of issues leading up to that point, but um it yeah, it was. Yeah, it kept pushing him to make this, keep going and make it bigger and go farther and blah blah blah. And yeah, the publishers, man, I swear. Yeah, and like especially if you've got a story in mind, like just make your story, tell your story, and then end it, and then move on to your next story. Like there's a lot of stories. There's worlds on worlds, right? Like we don't have to just tell one world of a story. We have brains. We can think. Yeah. Um. So there is some a little bit more focus on Orochimaru's village. It's actually kind of entertaining what they do with Orochimaru. Do you want spoilers? Because it's not like super spoilery because it happens like really early on in the series. Do you care? Oh yeah, so Orochimaru essentially like gets a job working for the Hidden Leaf Village, and so uh yeah, like and so it makes no no I know it actually did make a lot of sense, and it was like okay, he's like a lead researcher now working for Naruto. Naruto never held any prejudices, and that was something I was happy that they kept consistent in um throughout Boruto as well, is that Naruto's character really didn't change much as far as like the core of his belief system uh, is that everyone has value and everyone has a purpose essentially. Um, but yeah, so go, what's it? Oh yeah. Good idea. Good point. I'm just trying to get that mirthless grin here, trying to get her like smirking. It's a challenge. Not very good at this, but yeah, okay. I didn't know if you were aware of his of what happened with him later on. It's just so fun. It's funny, but it's like it makes a lot of sense from like the perspective that like Naruto isn't he knows Orochimaru, he knows what he's capable of, so he's like I'm gonna keep him on a short leash, but he's gonna do some valuable things for us here in the Hidden Village. It is. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Like they're yeah. Wait, real quick. What color do you want our eyes? Go with like purple. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, okay. Yep. Purple. Yeah. Bright, dark. Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Right. Yeah, it was sad. It was, yeah. The poorest explored concept was like how the politics of this world even work. It was the weirdest thing. Like I'm like I because I think they yeah. It was so they honestly I swear to you it was yeah, and yet they're still throwing kunai at each other. I'm like, come on, guys, you have this is like what are you guys doing? You have I don't anyway. There was yeah, they do address it. They do address it in Boruto as like essentially uh it's kind of like pre World War versus post World War in Boruto where like pre World War certain technologies became widespread but most things stayed like most tech stayed really like um kind of hard to get and kind of bespoke, right? Like really one off, only one person could make it, that type of deal, you know. And then second World War. Sorry, might be might be. Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Natural, yeah. The however that all worked. Anyway. Oh, yep, yep. I know what you're talking about. Right. Right. Rogue ninja. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. My late 20s. Yeah. Hell yeah. I wish that was me. Makes sense to me. Way more sense, honestly. Right. I mean, that's it's like letting a mass murderer run around. Like you wouldn't want that, you know? Oh hell yeah! Fucking love that part. Love Broccoli's part in that. Oh I. Oh my god. Yes. Okay. Ninja e things. Yeah. Before ninjas just became wizards. Yeah. Fucking ninja wizards. Yes. Yeah. They're yeah. Fucking okay. Anyway. Sorry. uh. Yeah. You there? Hello. Oh. I. Oh. I lost you, my guy. okay. I'll just chill out here. Did your phone die? I'm guessing. All right, cool. Tell me what you think of this, because I had this idea as I was working, and I'm like, dang, that's cool. But if you think that it's not the way we want to go, then what's that? Good, good. I I think I think that's like very goddessy, but at the same time still like techno-y future type dealio. Right. I just think it looks really good, and I like um yeah, I think that this fits her personality as well as like the character design um concept very well. But if you, yeah, I mean, obviously, like this is, it was just a thought. I could totally, I put it on its own layer, so we don't have to like keep it if we don't want to. But I was looking at this blue, and I was like, that doesn't feel like, doesn't work. Not as well anyway. I think if we were just to make that blue darker, it would work fine. Um, but I was like, oh, I'll just try this real quick and see how it works, and I'm like, oh, I fell in love. Too late. This is what we're doing. Yeah, no, yeah, yes. No, I love that concept. I think that that's I've seen it done. There's Nyx, the goddess uh of night, wears she she part of her like design in Greek mythology is that she wears the night sky on her as like a robe. Um, and that's kind of where this like I mean obviously like, I'm stealing this from 100 other places too, but like that's just one of the areas that like totally taking it from. You're cutting out a lot. What are you saying? I know a little. Well, I mean, obviously it depends on the artist, but like, which one in particular are you thinking? Oh, I do think I know what you're referring to. Where yeah, it's yes, I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen it, but I want to know what exactly you're thinking of. So I want to see what you send. All right, I think we're actually going to finish just getting the basic concept of her rendered up, and then call it a night on her because um the Kirby dots is that they're actually called Kirby dots. Fuck yeah. Imagine having an artistic technique named after you. Hell to the yeah, that would be so great. I was gonna ask you, do you have kind of a like a rough estimate or a timeline idea of when we should kind of like get the first I don't know section of the comic going? Yeah, essentially page like when we should have first page first um, publishable pages ready to go. I obviously we won't be publishing them right when we have them ready, but I just want to like get a timeline of when you're kind of thinking. Okay. Okay. That's perfect. Yeah. Right. That's definitely where I want to be, and I actually I've encountered that a couple times where like people are, on Twitch or whatever were asking me like, hey, what's this for? And I'd be like, oh, it's for a comic series, and then they'd start asking me like more in-depth stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't answer that. It's too soon. Let's see what you got here. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's definitely very commonly used throughout all of DC and some Marvel. I think because yeah, Jack Kirby worked a lot on Marvel mostly in his early parts of his career, if I remember correctly. Yeah, unfortunately, Jack Kirby kind of got shafted after like his estate got totally cut by Marvel, and everyone's like, "Hey, dude, this guy like helped invent Spider-Man. What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do here, Marvel?" They're like, oh no. Yeah, did you not? Oh man, this happened. This happened back like probably like well, it was back when Marvel was like buying up everything, right? They were buying up Star Wars. They were buying up Marvel. Did I? What did I say? Oops. Yeah, I meant Disney. Obviously, Disney was buying up everything. Um, and that was um that was one of the things that happened was they essentially like tried to like because they bought the rights to a bunch of stuff from Stan Lee, obviously, right? Um, so Stan Lee's getting all this, getting all these things. Well, Stan Lee's like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't do this by myself. I'm not the only creator of Marvel Comics. These other people did this too. And yeah, a lot of people. And Jack Kirby was one of the absolute like main like I mean he invented Spider-Man. He did a bunch of uh, a bunch of things in the early days of Marvel that like these characters technically kind of belong to him as far as they go and Disney was like, "Oh, we don't really want to pay for that, so we're not going to." And so in typical Disney fashion, they just tried to get away with that. I think they did eventually end up settling with Jack Kirby's his estate. Yeah. But I don't know if it was ever like in the amount that honestly that guy contributed to what the modern Marvel like thought process is today. Oh yeah, yeah, but then they're like, well, I didn't work any less hard on it because it had to go to DVD, like or had to go to HBO or whatever. And yeah, yeah. Oh. Yeah, they did. They had like a propaganda campaign against her, and it was like I bet there were a lot of people convinced that she was the problem, and I'm like, actually, she's just trying to get what she's owed. Like, it's really pretty valid. It's from an artist perspective, like I get it. I really do. Um, yeah, no, yeah, no, 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 yeah. Oh, I think she turned out. I think she turned out. That's a pretty good iteration on this character. Um, oh yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I actually, so I forgot. I was thinking of giving her like gold lipstick because I actually really like that look. I think it's fucking badass. Like, I don't know, it just, dude, I have yet to see a major company handle black people like in a very positive way in like any capacity. It's Oh yeah, yeah. Um, that's isn't that the no? That's not the same studio that did uh I don't know, Exorcist. That Blue Exorcist is actually that's probably a good example of like I don't know, just solid character handling. But I don't know about people. I don't know about people of color though. I don't know how that. I don't know how they went with that. Nope. Only white people exist. You know this. only white people. Yep. 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 Oh my God. It's there is. Oh my God. I know. Oh my God. It's so terrible. It's pretty funny. Like it's really like it's kind of too bad. So Japan's unfortunately a little bit far behind when it comes to just like how far the world has come society wise, like how progressive. Like as progressive as Japan can be, um, they are actually super far behind in terms of how they look at women and how they look at people of color. And they're low. It's low to say the least. Yeah. Yeah, so they got some issues that they're working out. One of the big things they've actually had to have several major public pushes to just get men to understand how women and pregnancy work. Like men in Japan do not give a single shit about a woman who is pregnant. It's so wild. They have like the old like mentality that America used to have, where it's like, uh, oh, she's pregnant. Well, that means she must still be able to like cook and clean and do all the things that a woman's supposed to be able to do. Like, it's like, dude, guys, come on, get with the program. Yes, yes. I can. I I think that unfortunately a lot of culture gets lost that way, where it's like in the name of progress we say, oh well, you're not allowed to do this anymore because oh it's not it's not like this. I think the the more important part is we need to push the idea of consent. Like you can have your culture be any way you want to, as long as everybody in it is consenting to that. Like or not everybody, but like the people participating in that part of culture. So it's kind of like Middle Eastern women who wear the head wraps and and the full like face coverings, yeah, the hijabs and like I have no problem with it because if they're doing it under their own under their consenting uh, reasons, it honestly it's a really awesome look and it can look amazing, but it's when it's like the culture itself has established like where it is wrong is when the culture has said you are forced to do this because we tell you you have to, like that's the wrong part of it, but then it's like not that's still Western. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, and a lot of women were like, "Wait, I don't want that. That sounds dangerous, right?" Like, yep, yeah, yep. They have all the privileges. Yeah, yep. To go to war. Yeah, when you, yes, yep. Yeah, there was a lot of issues, and yeah, it definitely took a long ass time. It's still, I mean, it's still getting worked out, right? Like we still don't have all the right answers here. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. They know what they're doing. Yeah, they've got you know, just general like there's a lot of cultural things that they've got like like you said, they understand it that much better than we do, and but yeah, oh yeah, oh man, it's brutal. Yeah, we're killing you. You dead. Yeah, he's brutal. It's crazy. Oh, I know. I know. It's actually crazy. It's so crazy to talk to a Filipino and they're like, "Oh no, yeah, Maduro is doing a great job." I'm like, he's killing Filipino people to in the name of this war on drugs. Like, hey, we did this in the United States and we figured out that was probably not great great idea. And right. Oh yeah. Yeah. How long did it take for people to catch on to that? Like, oh man. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's the same thing for like the AIDS epidemic, right? Like, how long did it take for people to catch it, to even care about that because it was only affecting gay people at the time, and it wasn't until it started affecting more than gay people that they actually gave a rat's ass. So, yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a good point too. There you go. Oh no. Oh no. Was it talking about critical race theory? Oh my God. Sorry. Yeah, there's like in my state currently, they're trying to ban like anything to do with the words critical race theory. It's pretty ridiculous. Oh, Desmond. Yeah, you okay there? I'm like, oh no, he got sick of me. uh, I do. You've roboted so much in that though that I think I only heard about one third of the words you said. You are roboting ridiculously right now. Um, so on this design, I think I want to take these red robes, right? I want to take these and I want to turn them into those blue into this blue design because then we have the yeah, actually can I actually just do this like quick here? This might be crazy. How did we do that? We can go fill, boop. That is not what I wanted. Can I? It's not working. Okay. Oh, I know what I can do. I can go select. No, I can go layer. Selection from layer. That's not right. Oh, okay. That kind of works. Not quite right, but it's something. I actually probably should call this a night. I am doing more work than I need to tonight, so. Dude, but we've done so much for this comic so far. Like, it's actually exciting. Hmm. Are you there, Desmond? I can. You're just very robotic. Robotronic, yeah. Uh, Spara human form design. Do. Yeah, I like how that looks. I think she's kick ass. You too, man. Um, yeah. Let's see. I think this week, rest of the week, I think I'm gonna focus on. I can do a couple of different things. I can focus on rendering up characters that we already have, so they like the drawings look even more professional and quality, and we can kind of showcase them better anyway than we already have been. I can we can start doing stuff about each of the races, so I could do like some um, more drawings of the actual individual races that you've got, or I can do more environments. Which direction shall I go in? Do what I love, do the environments. Hell yeah, yeah. I mean, it was super kick-ass. If you could, then like tomorrow at some point, just hit me with like just like one or two paragraph descriptions of like what you see each of these continents kind of looking like. Um, well, I already have some ideas for the city continent, the Centopolis. Perfect. I still don't know anything that I'm like. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that place yet at all. I do have a couple ideas because like you said, it's a religious continent. I think if we focus on like a cathedral mosque combo thing, as like a focal point, um, oh no, yeah, yeah, no. So the barbarians, like, so I want to do another concept in the desert eventually. That's like kind of just like a encampment out in the desert, but so um, there's a lot of different ways to do concept art, right? And there's kind of three levels of like concept art. There's the very far pulled back shot, which is uh like you're seeing the entire landscape and the city, and you don't see any people, but you can see like this is like the architecture of the place. um there so then there is the mid-range shot, which is we have people in the scene, uh we have a more intimate setting in a lot of cases, so maybe it's like a plaza, or it's a single location within the city, or whatever it happens to be. And then there's the character shot, which is like that's we're just that's what we've been doing with the characters is this is a close up on the character. We see all their details in kind of like a laid out front on form rather than doing any kind of like cool posing. I've been putting them into poses because I think that it's like important, but like traditional not traditional, but like a lot of concept art is like T-posed uh, uh, character models that they just it's there to just show the exact like materials that are on the person. So I like doing them in poses because I think it gives them more of a personality. But those are the three stages, the three like camera views of concept art, and I the stage that the like next stage now that we have the two like main kind of like city environments that we might see in our storyline um in your storyline go to the next stage would be to have those mid-range shots to establish like hey this is what a tavern looks like that they might visit, this is what a this is like this is them in the plaza of this place or that type of deal, or this is or like you know like I said the a barbarian encampment that they visit that you know it's the nomadic tribe has stopped at this place to rest and gather water or something. But anyway, um, what'd you say? Sorry, I did not hear you. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. Um, yeah, so I don't want to get into those yet because I feel like we still I want to kind of work everything up all at once so that we are not getting like we're not getting bogged down in details too quickly. Um, so yeah, the way I'm thinking about it is like we'll get a lot of these big establishing shots of a lot of the like environments that we're going to. One for at least one for each of the continents, and then more if we think we're going to be spending a lot of time there in the storyline. Um, and then of course the desert is just deserty and also is really fun to draw, so I just did a bunch of those. But and then I want to get all the characters and the races established too, because those are our kind of more intimate character features. And then it'll be really easy to do those kind of mid-range shots because I can like throw in characters that we already have. I can use different posings and stuff like that for those. So a lot easier. And but those are like mid-range shots are like literally telling a story. Like so it's almost like we're doing a comic panel, but like way higher quality than what a comic panel would actually be. So like a painterly um, James Gurney style expression of whatever's happening. You ever read Dinotopia? Oh man, Dinotopia. It's just it's a an artist takes us through. It's basically an art book, but it has like a story to it. Um, and James Gurney writes about an island that these shipwreck survivors wreck on, where the entire island has a human population and a dinosaur population, and the dinosaurs are like sentient, speaking creatures that you can like interact with. It's amazing, but like his art, like everything's so realistic and so like believable. It's just the best like story, and oh man, just look up some Dinotopia stuff because that is definitely an inspiration for this kind of thing. It's very fantasy. There's a little bit of magic in it, not like it's like faux magic. So like science, but it's faux science, I guess is the best way of putting it. Like there's like crystals that have power sources in them, but they're not really magical. They're more like, oh, it's just this kind of crystal does this. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, um, so yeah, check out Dinotopia. Best story. It's best illustrated storybook I've ever read. And then what was I was going somewhere with that. Oh, but like yeah, so like every page in that book is like almost like its own comic panel, right? So he's got like paragraphs of writing and then and some pages are like all writing, but they'll have like little tiny illustrations of like, oh, this is something cool that you would find in this place here, and the characters travel around to different locations, and then so even it's way more illustrated than a light novel. It's almost like the inverse of a light novel where it's mostly illustrations and some text. Versus I think light novels tend to be mostly text and some illustrations, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that how that works? Yeah. Um, and but yeah, it's like it's mostly these illustrations are definitely the focal point. Like yes, there's the flavor text all through the whole book. It's actually like an 80-page book too. It's not a thin little guy, and it's in a landscape orientation. Very odd layout for that, and it lends itself to these amazing like environment shots of like there's one place called Waterfall City, just gorgeous painting and just absolutely amazing. And yeah, check that out. Anyway, that kind of book is actually something that I want to do. Like that'll be like when we do the art book for this, it'll kind of be set up in a Dinotopia way if I have anything to do with it. So anyway, yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't have anything. Yes, no, but I'll show you why it's just the best. Anyway, all right, I gotta go to bed. I will talk to you tomorrow. Whenever you want to hop on tomorrow, I'll probably be around. So, all right, thanks, man. All right, bye.